My ex sent me a message, told me what he's going to be offering me in mediation. He's going to offer me $250 a month for child support. I realized what this man did to me in signing this prenuptial agreement. I get to live in this house until she turns 19. Well, I was always concerned about my vehicle because my name is not on it. And I did have a lawyer who was given to me by his lawyer.
Your lawyer was given to you by his lawyer? Some of you may remember when I did a video about this lady here.
I have no income. I have no money. I use my husband's credit card and I use my husband's money.
This is a woman who I found on TikTok, went viral because she was going through a divorce, and very sadly, she was a stay-at-home mom that didn't have any other sources of income besides her husband. But once this divorce took place, it shook her whole world. And the reason why I wanted to show Miss Courtney's story is because this happens to many people. Fully relying on someone else financially, thinking that the unthinkable will never happen, and then unfortunately sometimes it does. And that is what seems to have happened to Miss Courtney. Well, I don't even usually do follow-up videos, but Miss Courtney popped back up on my FYP on TikTok, and I said to myself, man, maybe things are better. Maybe she got a job. And I said, let's just see what is going on now. Miss Courtney, I'm rooting for you. I really hope that you are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 10 plus years. I have no income. I have no money. When we got married, he told me that my name isn't going to go on the deed because he doesn't want to put that debt on. 2 weeks ago, he told me that he wants to move forward with divorce. And he said, you need to start using your own card now. I have 2 kids to take care of, and I don't even know how I'm supposed to take care of it. It's who relates to like the fear of not being able to take care of your own family and not being able to feed your children. Like, I know that is probably the least of my worries because I don't know, like, I'll be able to feed them, but it's just food is expensive. I have no idea what is happening.
Oh, Courtney. I don't know what to do with this. This is a lot.
There are so many people from the on-screen text in my first video that said nobody warned us. I grew up with a single mom. Like, there was no man in our household taking care of us. My mom was the mom and the dad. Seeing my mom by herself and my nanny by herself, I grew up wanting a man to be in my life, and I grew up wanting to be taken care of by a man. I like the traditional roles of men and women, of like, you marry a man and he takes care of you. He provides for you and your family. What happened to that? Nobody ever told me to be independent and take care of myself first.
I thought this was a great starting point because it kind of shows the thought process of how Miss Courtney got into the situation she got into. And I love to hear the background. Not often when we talk about financial hardship that people face, do they take it that far back? But this even stems from the childhood. She wanted this since she was a kid, and she has every right to want whatever type of life she wants. But one thing that I did find interesting is she said there wasn't a stress about being independent or making sure that you can take care of yourself. And that is important because it's one of the biggest downfalls we see for a lot of people who have put their faith 100% into somebody else, i.e. their spouse, and then it doesn't work out. And then they're like, what do I do? How do I take care of myself? I thought you were going to take care of me. And the idea of what you thought was going to be something for the rest of your life is now over and done. And now you have to be, you the in charge. You're in charge. I'm sure that's really scary. And it says here on the screen, some of us weren't warned. We grew up hoping. And that makes a lot of sense. I need to go to the comments. And she's saying here, she keeps seeing comments that says, we were warned. And I think that really comes from people saying, hey, women online have been very vocal about these sort of issues and what happens to them. Like, I can't even keep up with all of the stories I see of people online saying, I was a stay-at-home mom. He decided to pack up and leave, or vice versa. It does happen that way too. They decided to pack up and leave, and now I don't got no money. I'm broke. Financially, I'm struggling. I don't know how I'm gonna take care of my my kids. I don't know how to take care of myself. Now, the first comment says, I'm sorry, but I also was raised by a single mother, and that of itself was the biggest lesson for me to be financially independent. You literally saw what could happen of you if you weren't. Others saying, my mom was also a single mom, and growing up, she taught me independence from her own independence and working hard for her girls. But as an adult, there's a part of me that likes the traditional roles, but is scared to end up like my mom. Honestly, I feel that. I feel that 1,000%. Another comment saying, I think dads usually tell their daughters to never rely on a man. Absolutely. Many do. I know my daddy did, and they were absolutely right. My humble opinion. But everybody's experience is different. And as she said, she was relying on hope.
Yo, I'm driving. Well, I'm not driving. I just got to Walmart. But as I was driving, I just thought of something else. Well, I was always concerned about my vehicle because my name is not on it, and it's a lease, and I've already had it for over a year, and it's probably like a 3-year lease. I don't even know how long the lease is. Yes. No, I didn't even go buy it. Like, it was delivered to our house. I don't know anything. All I know is that it's a lease, and my name is not anywhere. And when the lease is up, I have to give the car back. That means that we have a house to live in, but no car to drive. This is wild. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, holy. Also, car insurance.
I'm not prepared. Miss Courtney, I said back then somebody need to take her phone, but you know what? Miss Courtney is raw, and I love it, but I said take her phone for other reasons. If you watch, you know why I said that. But I feel this is what it looks like when you put 1,000% trust into somebody and you just don't think that you're going to end up in divorce and have to depend on yourself. She doesn't even know what the terms are of the lease. She just... Name not on the lease. This is a lot, Miss Courtney. The part 2, I'm scared to keep going because in part 1, Miss Courtney told us some crazy stuff. But now we're throwing a car into the equation. So then the question comes up of how are you going to pay for a car if you have to get rid of this car? And then on top of that, how are you going to pay for the insurance? Because she doesn't seem to know much about that either. I would say this, y'all. I don't care who you are. You should know how and who to pay all of your bills to. I've seen in real life things have happened to people, like they unexpectedly lose their spouse, very unfortunate, stressful situation, and on top of that, they don't even know how to pay the light bill. They don't know what utility companies they have everything set up with, because there was one person in the household handling everything and the other person has no clue. At bare minimum, y'all, like, at least sit down and say, hey, can we at least make a list? Like, maybe put the phone numbers on there, say, hey, this is who we have this with, this is who we have that with, this is whose name everything is in, just because I believe that's part of being a responsible adult. And I'm not saying that if you haven't done that, you're irresponsible. I'm just saying maybe you don't think something like this might happen. And even if something like this doesn't happen, it might also be good to know who your utilities are with, or your leasing contract for a vehicle, or car insurance. Oh gosh, Miss Courtney, she said her name ain't on it. She didn't buy it. She don't even know the terms. Gosh. Valid question though. Someone asked, what are you doing to solve the problem? She said, dry it up. My mom used to say that. I have an attorney. I am good though. Appreciate the support. Okay, so Miss Courtney got an attorney and I'm glad, but I don't know if the attorney's responsibility is helping you understand who you have utilities with, leases with, all that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. Hopefully somebody helps her or she's figured it out already. Other people are saying, hey, just go ahead and make a GoFundMe. Another saying, wow, you had way too much trust in this guy. I'm just reading the comments.
I need y'all to look at this. These are some comments from a divorce and separation support group that I follow. These are different people, women, men, all from different states, all with the same concerns, all anonymous. And this is why I keep talking, I keep yapping my big mouth, because women everywhere need to find out, need to know this information and learn before it's too late. And let me tell you, if you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, that will never happen to me, my husband would never do that to me. Myself, and I'm sure all of these people said the exact same thing.
So at the top it says, I'm trapped, stay-at-home mom with 2 little, 4 and 2. I have no money, no one to help, nowhere to go. I can't afford an attorney. Anyone been in a similar situation? What did you do? I fear I have no options and I'm stuck in this life forever. Another person said, has anyone been a stay-at-home mom with no job or income and a partner left? We aren't legally married, so what can I do? What assistance can I get? No family to help. Please help. I'm being financially A-worded. I have no access to money. My husband is the breadwinner. I am a stay-at-home mom, homemaker. When I need money, like at the checkout at the grocery store, he will PayPal me money after I send him how much it is. Then they said, can I get mandated spousal support without getting a divorce? My goodness, y'all. This enough. If I didn't see this in real life, which I have, I've seen this in real life many times, more times than I like to admit. But if I didn't, people like Miss Courtney and her story and even posting things like this would make me think twice. It would make me think twice. Because what do you do after this situation? Because in my opinion, this is the perfect setup to be in survival mode. And a lot of people aren't talking about that part where you're like, I don't know what to do, so you start doing anything. And I mean anything, because you don't have no money and you're desperate. And they say desperate times call for desperate measures. So what would you do for a Klondike bar? You know? And I'm just saying that because I don't want nobody to be in this situation where your back is against the wall and then all of a sudden now you're being reactive instead of proactive because it just wasn't a thought. And I'm all for people having whatever type of roles they believe they should have in their marriages. Cool, that's your business. But at the bare minimum, be able to take care of yourself in the event that doesn't work out forever. You know, I'm scared to I'm scared to see the next video.
Good morning, y'all. I have a question for you. Who has heard the term working dad? Because working mom, yes, but is working dad a thing? Because when I did work, I had a job and I also had to do all of the mom stuff that I do now. So I had 2 jobs and it was a lot. So I decided to quit one because I can't quit being a mom. Not that I would want to, but I think it's crazy because like you don't ever hear somebody ask a dad who's going to work, hey, who's taking care of the kids? But I bet you every single mom who's ever gone to work or gone back to work or continued their job after they had a kid, I bet they've all heard at one point or another, hey, who's watching the kids? Because it's just a known thing that when the dad goes to work, who watches the kids? The mom. So stay-at-home dads, yes. Stay-at-home moms. Working moms, yes. Working dad, never heard of them.
You know what, Courtney? That was kind of on topic. But to be fair, I don't think I've ever heard of that term either. I have heard working mom, especially in the military, used very frequently. Very frequently. Have y'all ever heard that term? Now, Courtney, you got me thinking. No, I've never. That was interesting. And we know why. It's because I think in society the role is automatically given to the woman, the nurturer. And then this goes back to that conversation of like provider men and this whole conversation that people like to argue about every couple of business days. I think if the man is providing, then that is what society expects the woman to be taking care of the kids. It's not even a second thought. It's like, oh, you can take care of the kids and work, but then you're a working mom. And then when you're done with work, you still gotta take care of the kids. Depending on how your house is set up, you might have to take care of the kids more than your spouse, but hey, that's your business. But that can be a lot. That can be a lot to handle. And even more scary, it's just inherently knowing the expectation of a man is to work, and they are going to work more than likely, but that's not inherently expected of you, which could put you in a bad spot if you aren't working, because then like what we're seeing right now could happen.
All right, y'all, so it happened. My American Express card was cut off about 3 days ago, and when I say I panicked, I went into like a full-blown panic. I found out because Apple Pay sent me a text message that said, this credit card is no longer available to use for Apple Pay. And my entire body went numb. The panicking thoughts of how am I gonna pay for anything? How am I gonna go grocery shopping? For the first time in a really long time, $100 goes real fast. We went to Walmart and then we went to Publix, and pulling out my debit card to pay for $30 worth of stuff from Walmart and $70 worth of stuff from Publix. I have so many questions going around in my head. Like, I shouldn't be using cash for this. I should be using a credit card. I should be getting points from the grocery store. What am I doing? I don't know anything about finances. So I have some savings, but is that what I'm gonna buy my groceries with? What in the world?
The I don't know anything about finances part, it's a gut twister to hear, because I believe Miss Courtney is like 30 something, mid 30s, I believe, knows nothing about finances, and a lot of people don't. So this isn't to shame her. It's just scary to hear because she's trying to figure it out in her mid 30s. And the situation is, I don't like it. I don't like this at all. It's stressing me out.
I gotta get my own credit card. There's so many questions in my head. You gotta grow up and learn how to be financially independent.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do that. So I'm gonna learn it, and I'm gonna teach y'all all about it as I go.
And I'm glad Miss Courtney is committed to trying to become more financially educated, gain financial literacy, because it's so important. And I can't stress how important it is. I could just talk about this all day, and I fear I'm going to go off on a tangent, so I'm going to stay focused. Financial education is for everybody. Everybody. Financial literacy is for everybody. I don't care. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, or blue. I don't care, woman, man. I don't care what your pronouns are. It's for everybody. If you don't have a basic understanding on finances, when you go out into the real world, you get taken advantage of. In almost any situation, that is what can happen. Credit card companies profit off of your ignorance. You don't understand interest rates. You don't understand billing cycles. You don't understand credit utilization, that you shouldn't be spending over 30%. If you want really good credit, you should really keep it under in the single digits if you really want to be doing something great. Businesses profit off of ignorance. You just not knowing better, not having financial literacy. And that is why it's important. It's not funny to say, I'm just a girl. I don't, finances are for men. No, that's goofy. And I'm not saying she said that. I'm saying if you think like that, you need to stop immediately. Because there's somebody out there that is glad that you think like that. You are about to be like candy in a candy store for them. And it's never too late to start learning things. And even though, yes, it does suck to see Miss Courtney in her mid-age trying to figure these things out, trying to navigate through this while going through a divorce, a heartbreak, a breakup. I'm sure that's very hard and stressful, but I am glad to see that she seems willing to take the steps to become financially independent. And honestly, she has no choice. She has no choice. The only other choice or other way this could go is if she leaned on somebody else 100%. And we already seen how that went. That probably wouldn't be good to do again. You know, that's if you're trying to learn from your mistakes. And I don't know about her card getting cut off. This is everything she's saying is alleged based off of what she's saying. I'm just reacting to it. If that did happen, that's crazy, because she's saying here she went into panic mode, not because she don't have money, but for the first time in 13 years she had to think about money. And she's saying here also she questioned grocery store points, habits that she had never questioned before. Then she goes on to say, I realized how many of us have quietly relied on our husbands financially. And I don't even see a problem with that. I just think you can do both. If that's what you want to do, do both. Maybe y'all can sit down and talk about these things and go over things together. YouTube is free. Why not?
We all know that I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 7.5 years, my children's whole lives. My husband works, and I've been a stay-at-home mom so that I can be involved in my kids' life, so that I can always be there. I pride myself on the fact that I'm available to take care of my kids and be at their school functions and do everything that they need me to do. That's normal, like a stay-at-home mom. So my job was to handle the house and the kids. Fine. So now, going through a divorce, my husband has always worked a lot. Normally doesn't get home until like 6:30 at night, sometimes 6. But in the state of Florida, 50-50 custody is normal. And I'm totally fine with that. I want my kids to spend their time with their dad. Is it the most difficult thing that I've ever had to deal with? Yes. Knowing that I'm losing out on half of my kids' lives when I've just always been there, that's something that I can't fully grasp that yet. But here's my question. So 50-50 custody, I got all that. My kid, we FaceTime, and she says, we are meeting with some babysitters.
and immediately I started spiraling. They're essentially interviewing nannies because my husband works and he's gonna need a sitter or a nanny. I'm fine with that. I know, like, working moms, people need babysitters, people need nannies. I got it. If you're a working mom, like, you probably have a nanny that helps you with your kids. Your life, your choice. So my life, my choice was to be a stay-at-home mom. And now I have to be okay with my husband getting 50% custody of my kids, our kids. And then I also have to be okay with the fact that when they are with him, they are most likely going to be taken care of by a nanny or a babysitter.
What's interesting about that is many people don't understand the work that is being done, the labor of actually watching children, until you're forced to get a nanny. He's getting a nanny now. Before, he didn't need a nanny because she was there watching the children. You don't need a nanny. The mom is watching her children and his child. And I always find that so interesting that when people separate, sometimes the other person actually has resources to get the nanny. And mind you, that's probably been the person that has been working the whole time. Meanwhile, you, as the person who has been staying at home, taking care of the children with no resources, no education, nothing to fall back on if things don't work out, you can't afford no nanny. You might be trying to figure out how to live, just how to get by, like she seems to be, or a lot of people. Meanwhile, the other person has a whole career, an established life, financially set up, seems financially responsible, knows how to handle things, and they can just pay somebody. And this is why I say I think it's a great idea to always have some income, because we can see how one-sided this is. And it's sad, and maybe she can work at a daycare or something like that. I'm sure she's well qualified to work with children. She has her own children. I don't know. Well, maybe. But if that's the only thing you've been doing for X amount of time, then there's a question of what can you do to get resources? Because the whole time you were taking care of the children, the other person was building themselves up, climbing up the ladder. And there's nothing wrong with that, or being the support system to somebody that is doing that. There's nothing wrong with that either, until something like this happens.
Instead of me getting to spend that time with my children, because I don't work and I'm home, I have to be okay with them spending time with a nanny. And I get it, he works, so he's gonna need some kind of help, but like, why can't I spend that extra time with my kids? Why is it okay that we're getting divorced and he gets 50-50 custody, but also gets to hire a babysitter because he's not a stay-at-home dad, he has to work. So like, I asked him if I could be his babysitter, and he said no. He objected and declined. He said no as many times as he could say no, that's a no, that I cannot be his babysitter, and I can't spend the time that he's at work with my kids like I have always done. Why is this okay? So all of a sudden, you've never been able to pick our kids up from school. You've never been able to be home until 6:30 p.m., which I get maybe he didn't want to come home because I was here. But that's why I was a stay-at-home mom, because he worked and I could pick them up from school and do everything for them until he got home from work. But now, like, we're getting divorced and I have to be okay with losing. I lost my husband, I lost my family, and now I'm losing out on half of my kids' lives, and half of that time, they're not even going to be with the other parent. They're going to be with a sitter.
That's some deep stuff. I hope that they can come to a resolution that's good for them and more importantly, the children, or hopefully it's at least a great nanny. Goodness gracious.
Hey y'all, so my SiriusXM radio just turned off because it was attached to the American Express that also got turned off, and that is one thing that I forgot to change. So yeah, I know SiriusXM is very unnecessary, but it's all I listened to in my car. So now I have to listen to regular radio. SiriusXM sees this, call me up, send me a message. I will gladly represent SiriusXM. Y'all can give me free monthly service.
Now, Miss Courtney, I'm not even mad at the hustle. I'm not even mad at it. Please get that out that man's name. What is up with the car? Did you figure out if you was giving the car back? Because is the car in your name? Is this a different car? Courtney, you can go on YouTube and just, make a little playlist on there until you figure something out. I don't know. Apple Music? Something. I mean, at least she's making a joke about it, and she's in good spirits, and her hair looks great, by the way.
My name is not on this car. This is my ex-husband's car, and I am just allowed to drive it because it is a lease, and when the lease is up, I have to give it back.
I just was asking about the car, and then the next video, this is not the...
I have to buy myself a car, which I haven't done since I was single, before I was married, because he bought me a car right when we met. I know. but you live and you learn, and now I will tell all the girls, get your name on, I don't even know what my name would go on. The title of the car, I guess. Get your name on it. Okay, bye.
Oh my gosh. Miss Courtney got to get a new car. She said it's too much. Oh, we almost caught up, I think.
I haven't really posted anything about what's been going on with my divorce, but let me give you a bit of an update. As you all know, I feel like a small child throughout this whole process because yes, I'm 37, yes, I'm grown, but I have been married to a man who is 20 years older than me, and
He's 57, Courtney? No. And because when I think 20 plus, it's just in my head. Because my parents are like 20 years older than me. Both of them. Well, one of them is, she's still alive. The other one, he gave up the ghost. But it just makes me think, like, grandpa, grandma, or my mom or dad. Like, personally, that's just where my mind goes. Because that would be in their age range for me. Ooh, okay. Different strokes for different folks. Interesting.
he has been in charge for the past, since I've known him. I loved that about him, the fact that he was older and he told me what to do and he made the decisions and he was in charge, because that's what I like. I like a man who's in charge, who tells me what to do.
I'm not prepared. Obviously, I'm...
Maybe not anymore, but essentially during this whole process, I have let him remain in charge. I have gained more strength in the past 3 months than I have in my entire life. My attorney straight up said to me, you need to stop caving to everything this man says. You immediately cave to everything. And my response to her was, yeah, because he's in charge.
And no ma'am. How is he in charge and y'all are separating legally? That's what divorce is. Separation, individuality, to be recognized, not to be attached to the person that you legally were married to previously. Now you are an individual, responsible of yourself financially, legally, everything, only you. I was the attorney. Miss Courtney would have me punching air in my spare time, because what do you mean? He's in charge. I'm trying to win. Like, you getting in the way. Courtney, I need you to tighten it up. Tighten it up. I just know your lawyer gotta be sweating bullets if that's what you Courtney, I hope you did not tell the attorney that your ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband is in charge. Do you, like, I need y'all to understand, for you to come out on top, you have to draw the line in the sand and just worry about yourself. You know, put yourself first, because he's putting himself first. Is it a crime to do the same thing? Hello?
He's not in charge anymore, and I need to take control of my own life. She was right. For the first time in my life, I stood up for myself about not sending my children to be taken care of by a stranger, and she was right.
I mean, good for you, Courtney. Good for you. And I think that's just part of the process of not just being financially responsible and independent, but also part of being financially independent and financially responsible is knowing how to draw the line in the sand and stand up for yourself confidently. Do what is best for you in all aspects of life, because maybe she just didn't notice because she didn't have to worry about it. That's what he's been doing the whole time. Like, when you really think about it, he's been doing that. You're just now getting hip to the game of doing what is smart for you and having that confidence to not get ran over. You know, remember earlier I was talking about you get ran over in the real world when you don't understand a lot of stuff, and that's why it can be easy to run over somebody who doesn't understand anything about anything and just let somebody else control how everything goes, because you don't know anything and you're not able to stand on your own. You don't have the knowledge, so you just say, no, you do it, and then you're an easy lick. I'm glad to see over clicking through these months, Miss Courtney is getting better. Like, I actually feel she's like, you know what? Yeah, I do need to stand up for myself. And I love that.
Well, it's March 6th, and I'm back down the hill of the roller coaster. My ex sent me a message that said, as always, I'll make sure our children don't go without. And yeah, he's right, as always, because I haven't worked and he's always paid for everything. So of course, he's always been the one to not make them go without. But I don't really understand what that was. Like, was that just a dig at me? Because if it were up to me, they would go without. And I don't even understand, like, why even say that? Because you clearly know that I haven't worked for the past 7 years. Almost said 10 again. So no, I haven't made any money and I haven't paid for anything over the past 7 years that our kids have been alive. So yeah, if it were up to me, they would have went without because you were the provider. And it just makes me upset because it just takes me back to feeling worthless, the feelings of worthlessness, and the fact that my self-worth is just gone still.
I really hate to see, if people feel like their self-worth is gone, just the brokenness. I can only just imagine what she's going through. But she's definitely not worthless. Nobody is worthless, even you watching. I think this is just a very hard moment, but I think she's going to get through this. I got faith in her.
And how easily he can just make me feel like I'm this big again. Hey y'all, I keep getting questions about the house. In our prenuptial agreement, it specifically says that my ex-husband will be the sole owner of the marital residence, and he'll continue to own the home forever, and I will not. But in the prenup, it says that I do get to live here until our youngest is 19. So in 14 years from now, somebody's just gonna come and say, hey, Courtney, time's up, gotta move out. Not only is it written in the prenup, but there are so many rules in the prenup about this house, about who I'm allowed to have here, who's allowed to stay here. Like, I have so many rules of what I'm allowed to do in my own home. Like, I just find that so strange. How is it that this man is divorcing me and yet he still has control over where I live? He can choose to sell the house if he wants and make me move into a different house. There's a set of rules written specifically in the prenuptial agreement telling me how I am allowed to live in this house. What? The more I think about it, the more bothered it makes me.
Now that's crazy. He could just kick her out. Like, if he wants to sell the house, like, not kick her out, but she'd have to leave if he wanted to sell the house. But at least, like, honestly though, Courtney, being able to be there for 14 more years is a good amount of time to be able to save if he doesn't sell the house. So that's on the bright side, I guess. But it sounds like a rental situation with stipulations. If it were me, I'd probably just leave. But, financially, she's probably not there yet, which is, again, it goes back to what I was saying.
Good morning, y'all. Happy Thursday. So yesterday I was tested quite heavily. Let's chat about child support. So we have mediation coming up in 2 weeks. And yesterday, in an attempt to forego mediation altogether, my ex sent me a message, told me what he's going to be offering me in mediation. He's going to offer me $250 a month for child support for 2 kids in South Florida. Now, from my understanding, child support is calculated by income, like his income and my income and the custody situation and the kids' expenses. $250 per month for 2 kids. I spend more than that for the week for groceries.
And I was just about to say that groceries is doing people in right now. $250 for 2. Ma'am, this sounds like a plot that Todd set up.
A scheme that Todd set up for him to come to you with the...
Because what? And it allegedly. If that is what happened, it's a setup. It gotta be a setup. Talk to the lawyer. Oh my. In 2026, like that's actually disrespectful. I'm not even gonna lie. If he's making all this money, like how it seems like he's financially well off. I mean, he was able to have his wife at home being a stay-at-home mom. $250 in 2026. This is rage bait. It gotta be rage bait on his end. Because what?
Good morning, y'all. It's morning already. It's 6 a.m. and it's a morning. I had to put on my warrior shirt to remind myself that I'm a warrior because, y'all,
Yep, you are.
I'm being tested big time. Like, this man moved into a $17 million home on the ocean. $17 million. There's some tea for y'all. All of you people who are like, $250, that's enough. As y'all know, and I've been told I have nothing. Everything that you see behind me in all these videos, it's his. It's not mine. The home that I'm living in is his.
And I saw the home, Miss Courtney. It's nice. It's nice. The backdrop, Okay, but that ain't the point right now. That's why I said it gotta be rage bait, cause 250 and he living like that. Something ain't adding up, Courtney. What your lawyer say?
November 7th, he walked out of my house and walked into a $17 million home on the ocean that he bought. So $250 a month is not gonna cut it. Sorry. Bye.
I can understand, ma'am.
Yeah, mediation went absolutely horrible. It was long and like nothing, absolutely nothing got resolved. I was told when it comes to a man and his money that they change.
What? They said when it comes to a man and their rewind it back, please.
When it comes to a man and his money, that they change.
They said what? That they change. You know what? That's harsh, but they ain't never lied. And that's people in general. Like, I don't care who you are, what you are. People do change. So when it comes to relationships, oh yeah, people definitely change when it comes to money, depending on how much they like you at that time.
I'm shocked at the person, like I'm shocked at how kind of vicious he's become. That's the things that he's said to me, and he told me that I'm lucky I signed the prenup or else I'd be homeless. So it's like, I'm thinking like, what? 6 months ago, we were husband and wife, and now you would make me homeless? And thank God I signed the prenup. Thank God for this prenup. Thank God.
Wow. And Miss Courtney, I know I'm being nosy, but I'm looking in the background. You got a nice setup kitchen in there. It's nice and spacious. Everything white cabinets, very nice. And I'm glad you signed whatever you signed to an extent, because in that last video you had me stressed out because you were saying you pretty much wasn't getting nothing, but I'm glad you're not on the streets.
So at 27 years old, when I signed that prenup, I signed away my rights to everything. Anything that he had before our marriage, anything that he makes or grows or builds during our marriage, and then I signed away all of my rights to anything after the marriage. So like people are talking about retirement and Social Security. I don't even know what that is.
Don't, Miss Courtney, you can still figure it out. Google is free. You don't know what Social Security is, and no shame to anybody who doesn't. If you don't understand any financial terms, please just Google it, y'all. It's not funny. It's really not funny to not know what these things are, especially those of you who work, because you pay into that. To not know what that is would be, but also many people are granted this in divorces, and her husband is an older age also.
I don't get any of it because I waived it. I waived alimony. I waived any kind of spousal support. I waived everything. For this house, it specifically states that him and his trust will always own this house. Yesterday I asked him again if there's anything I could do to get my name on the deed. He said no, period. I mean, I don't know if I signed it. Like I signed the paper. It just is what it is. I don't expect anything other than child support. And the fact that he's not wanting to give me child support after I signed away literally everything is shocking to me.
Wait, so you don't get to stay there till you 17? Until the child is 18 or like 14 more years? Wait.
Everything. I waived everything except child support, because you can't waive child support in a prenup because it's not mine, it's my kids. But yeah, in my prenuptial agreement, I waived everything. I waived it all, thinking that I would be protected and that the man that I was marrying was a good man and he would never do anything to hurt me. But people change, feelings change, love changes.
True.
And people can lie.
Yes.
So if you're a female, if you're a woman, if you're a girl and you are watching this, protect yourself. Protect yourself. Put your name on the deed of the house that you're living in. I think that probably kills me more than anything. Like, we built this house. I designed that kitchen. It is mine. And yet, it's not. And it never will be, and it never was.
Wow, that's a hard one to swallow. Now, this is the video that popped back up on my FYP where I said Miss Courtney is going through something, and now I'm scared. And I'm scared that he might just sell the house. Like, even if she can stay there there for 14 years. Miss Courtney, I hope you got a job. Like, it's paying the bills. I hope so. Because social media can do it nowadays. I'm just saying, but maybe you could write a book. Because this is crazy. I mean, you done already spilled a lot of the tea for free, but I still think you might be able to give some tips. If you make a 180 in life and you're like, hey, this is how I went from this to this. Like, I'm giving you ideas, Miss Courtney. Because it's looking a little unsure.
Yesterday, I realized what this man did to me in signing this prenuptial agreement. So our youngest is 5 years old. I get to live in this house until she turns 19. And no, I don't own the house. I'll never own the house. Him and his trust will always own this house. And I was told that I was protected because I get to live in this house if we divorce. But what I wasn't told, or what I didn't fully understand, I guess, because I was 27, I was grown, I should have known better, but I come from small town North Carolina. I grew up with a single mom who didn't really have a lot. Like, I wanted to marry the man, and I just didn't think that he would ever hurt me, so I signed it. And let me tell you, if our marriage would have worked out for another 10 years, and our kids are going away to college, and then, like most married people, we decide we don't want to be together because we made it through our kids going away to college, and now, like, we're ready to separate.
Right.
At that point, after my youngest is 19 years old, he could divorce me and I would just have to leave this house with absolutely nothing. When our youngest turns 19, everything ends. Everything ends. So, if we would have made it to that point, because of the prenuptial agreement and the fact that none of it is mine, he could tell me to get out of the house and I would have to leave.
And it doesn't even matter, Courtney, because, like, he's telling you this now, but she's saying here, yes, I'm lucky he left me now and not 10 years from now. Like, I think it's better to just focus on what is actually going on, because this is a lot. Instead of thinking about the hypotheticals about the marriage not lasting, there's a lot right in front of you that needs to be faced. And I say that nicely. You got to lock in, Courtney. You got to lock in right now. Right now.
There have been so many comments on my prenup post calling me stupid and saying how dumb I was to have signed that prenuptial agreement. But let me tell you why I did sign it. So I met a man who's 20 years older than me, who wasn't a deadbeat, who had a nice career and was ready to settle down and was ready to have kids. And so I thought I hit the jackpot. Yeah, like most women who find a good man with a good job, he seems like he's ready to have kids and settle down. Yeah, I hit the jackpot. And I was a teacher before I got married to this man. I made $41,000 a year as a teacher in South Florida. I didn't have any savings. I didn't have any assets to bring into the marriage. No, he has a business and all of this stuff, and I didn't want any of it. All I wanted was to marry the man. I didn't want his money. I still don't want his money. It's not about that. So the prenuptial agreement, I was, I guess, lied to by him and told that it protected me. I did not know that I wouldn't have any rights to the house. I didn't know. Yes, I was dumb. I was naive. I grew up in North Carolina with a mom who has never owned a home. I didn't know anything about a deed or a mortgage, nothing. I knew nothing. And no, I did not educate myself before I signed it. Looking back, hindsight's 2020. Yes, I wish I would have known what I was signing. I did have a lawyer who was given to me by his lawyer.
Nah, I didn't know that. Your lawyer was given to you by his lawyer? Oh, that's like taking... Oh, Courtney, please, if you ever see this video, get your own lawyer. They typically... Allegedly, I can't confirm nor deny, but they typically are talking to each other to work against you. Here's the equivalent. If you are getting a home built and the home builder says, you know what, we can give you a free inspection. We got people who can come out and inspect the house. And you know what? And you say, yeah, send the home inspector to tell me all the things wrong with the house. You're gonna have someone that you know, that knows you, come inspect this house. And you know what they do? They send that person there, and they say, you know, there's just some minor things here, because, you know, they got to make up the little minor things. But the big things, no, they're not going to tell you that. Why? Because they're in bed with each other. They're working together, okay? Which is why you need to get an outside inspector. Same thing here in this situation, okay? You should have got an outside lawyer, somebody who had no connection whatsoever to the ex-husband who you are trying to separate from legally, so they could give you the best advice and not be on the side of the husband ever, working for you, putting you first. Courtney, if you can fire the... And this ain't legal advice, this ain't financial advice. This is just real world advice as somebody who's experienced things like this in real life. People will band together if they are incentivized and know the party that hired them. Now, it'd be one thing if it's like, okay, he has to pay for a lawyer, but you can get a lawyer of your own choice. That would be the best course of action, because we understand you don't have the money for a lawyer. We get that, but you got to find a way around that, because that $250 for child support, you might get stuck with that if the lawyer is in bed with his lawyer and him, and he's paying both lawyers. He's paying your lawyer and his lawyer. They're probably working for him. You know, they're probably working for him, not you. Get it outside. Conflict of interest. Scared now. I didn't know that. I think that's not going to go well, Courtney. I am wishing you well on this whole thing, but that is now one of your biggest issues that you should be trying to figure that out ASAP.
In my eyes, I wasn't bringing anything into the marriage, so I shouldn't get anything out of it. I wasn't thinking about my future or having kids. I was excited to marry this man, and if I needed to sign a prenuptial agreement to marry him, then I was signing it.
And I have nothing against a prenup, by the way. It's just the way she went about it without understanding, without having somebody who was well versed in understanding the verbiage, look over it. A lawyer, an attorney, somebody outside, not hired from her husband, looking at that piece of paperwork would have been very good for her. But as she said, hindsight is 2020. It is truly one of those things where it's like you live and you don't understand what you just did until you're in this situation. Man.
I let love blind me, and I saw everything through rose-colored glasses, and I never in my entire life thought that this man would do this to me. He was my knight in shining armor that came and saved me, and he was gonna take care of me as I take care of our kids and him and our home. When he gets old, then I'll get to take care of him. But obviously we're not gonna get to that point. The only thing that I would have changed is I would make sure that my name was on the deed to the house that we built together after we were married. That's it.
Caveat. Probably not the right word. Don't care. All my Army folks gonna get that. Anyway, the lawyer, ma'am, if it was me, they'd have to go. They would have to go. I need to see in the comments, has anybody else pointed this out? Because I was taken aback. Never take a lawyer from your husband's lawyer. That's a huge conflict. People over here saying you should get a lawyer, you can fight a prenup. The thing is, the lawyer is he's probably in bed with her ex-husband or husband, allegedly. And look, she just recently posted all of this a few days ago. Miss Courtney, please get this under control.
Good morning, y'all. Happy Sunday. So, in case you didn't know, when you're going through a divorce, I don't know if it's all divorces. I know it's mine because we're trying to figure out child support. So we have a mandatory financial disclosure where we have to show and provide documentation of all of our finances. And my ex actually came to me and said, you're gonna have to show all of your finances. And then he put again, all of them. Like I'm trying to hide something. I have 2 bank accounts and I have 1 credit card that I just opened because you closed my other one. But I've provided all mine. I provided it months ago. Here we are 7 months in. And I thought with him saying that of course he's already disclosed his. But y'all, I found out that we have a hearing on Wednesday with our judge for her to demand him to disclose his finances because he has yet to. Meanwhile, he's offering me $250 because that's all he can afford.
And you know what? I can't confirm nor deny, but here is in my head what I was thinking. If she would have been like, yeah, I'll take the $250, that would have just been that on that, right? Maybe, allegedly. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in the field of law. But if she would have agreed to it, maybe they would have got that in writing somewhere and that would have been that. And then maybe they wouldn't have to go in depth to say, hey, you know what? You really should be getting more than that. But because you signed on the dotted line for $250, hey, this is what you said you was cool with, so we don't need to go through all these hoops. But she didn't, allegedly. I'm just conspiracy, because in my head, any judge if he's living somewhere for $17 million and offering you $250. That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make any sense. You at least a couple a couple thousand. That makes more sense to me. This is just so much going on here. Like, so he was rich and stingy, allegedly.
What? So let me get this straight. You're coming at me telling me I'm gonna have to disclose all of my finances when I haven't worked in 8 years? And you haven't even disclosed yours yet. What a joke. This is such a joke. Just do what you're supposed to do. That's it. It's not that hard.
Allegedly, they might have wanted her to settle. I don't know. I need to know what y'all think about all this down below. Miss Courtney, your update got me stressed out. And I'm hoping, for one, that you get a separate lawyer that has nothing to do with your ex-husband. And also, I'm just hoping that you both can move past all of this madness and be able to show up for the kids in the best way you can, because this is a lot. I need to know financially though, what do y'all think about this video? Because now I'm stressed. I'm stressed, Miss Courtney, but I applaud you for showing people what you're going through and bringing this to light, because absolutely, as raw and unfiltered and uncut all of this is, that's how life is. This happens to people in real life, and I agree with her. She's not the only one experiencing this, and she won't be the last. And sometimes the best way to learn from something is just to watch other people go through it. You don't have to go through it too. You don't have to touch the stove to know that it's hot, that you're going to get burned. You know, so we're trying to prepare you and tell you to put on the gloves. Put on the heat-resistant gloves so that doesn't happen. You know, not saying the stove is bad. You know, just handle and proceed with caution. You know, but we got to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.